Доброго дня, шановні колеги, друзі. Дуже рада вітати вас сьогодні на нашому вебінарі. Сподіваюся, що наша зустріч буде цікавою та корисною для всіх. Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Katerina Бойченко, and I'm honored to welcome you on behalf of the Data for UA project and our partners. We'll be exploring the dynamic intersection between business and academia in creating robust data ecosystems for safeguarding Ukrainian cultural heritage. And this webinar is designed to spark dialogue, share insights, and of course, encourage innovative solutions that merit technological advancements with the urgent need to preserve our collective cultural legacy. Our session focuses on a particularly pressing question. How can business and academia unite their resources and expertise to build sustainable data ecosystems for protecting culture assets? And while academia excels in research, methodological rigor, and public service, the private sector often brings in agile development processes, funding opportunities, and cutting-edge tools. And by bridging these strengths, we stand a far better chance of ensuring that heritage sites, archives, museums, and intangible traditions are documented and preserved and made accessible both for current needs and, of course, for future generations. And during this webinar, we will explore 4 key questions that lie at the heart of our conversation. And of course, I would like to tell you a few words about our Data for UA project. It is a collaborative initiative with the goal of building capacity among European higher education institutions to effectively respond to culture heritage emergencies. While our specific focus is Ukraine, the impact of the project reaches far beyond its borders. And by examining how universities, researchers, industry partners, and local communities have responded to various cultural heritage challenges, we aim to create a blueprint that can inform, empower, and of course, inspire institutions facing similar threats elsewhere. And in practical terms, Data for UA has 3 main objectives. First, we seek to examine the measures already taken by higher education institutions and broader society in Ukraine when cultural heritage has come under threat, whether from war, natural disasters, or other emergencies, and by mapping out what has worked and what hasn't, we can build on existing strengths and learn from any shortcomings. And the second, we strive to enhance the knowledge and skills of higher education staff and students in the crucial domain of culture heritage safeguarding. And finally, we aim to investigate the role of these institutions in promoting a societal response that goes beyond campus walls. So from local NGOs to international alliances, we want to see how academic spaces can serve as catalysts for broader community resilience. Data for UA is supported by a network of partners from 4 main organizations: the Institute of Literature, Folklore and Art at the University of Latvia, and of course Lviv Polytechnic National University in Ukraine, and Space for CC working across Greece and Norway, and the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia. And each partner brings a unique set of strengths and perspectives, ranging from humanities and arts expertise to engineering, data science, and cross-border collaboration frameworks. And this interdisciplinary backbone helps ensure that our findings and tools are relevant and truly European in scope. And first, we want to underscore that culture heritage isn't just about monuments or manuscripts, it's about people and their connection to history, identity, and community. And of course, we invite you to think beyond approaches by fusing academic research methodologies with business-driven strategies. We can craft sustainable tech-oriented and solutions that transcend traditional boundaries. And of course, we hope that this webinar will serve as a platform for you to share your own experiences, raise questions, and perhaps even form new partnerships with like-minded professionals and organizations. And of course, today's program, you'll hear from experts who are at the forefront of digitalization, heritage protection, and collaborative innovation. Of course, before we dive into our discussions, let's take a moment to get to know each other. So we have a diverse group of participants today: academics, culture heritage professionals, business leaders, policymakers, and innovators, I hope so, all united by shared interest in safeguarding Ukrainian culture heritage. So I'd like to invite you to take part. I need to stop sharing my screen. And I want to give you one little poll just to know better who are you. So please, you can select the answer that about your background. So please select the option that best describes your role, and this will help us understand who is in the room. And if you'd like to, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. You can share your name, where you're joining from, and a few words about your work or interests. It's always great to see connections forming in events like this. So we will see in a few seconds our results. Please click on the response that you think that it is your most, it is your background characteristic. So let's see the results. And thank you all for participating in the poll. Looking at the results, so we have a strong mix of backgrounds: academics and researchers bringing deep insights and methodologies, culture heritage professionals, and of course, representatives of business industry and NGO. So this diversity is exactly what we expected, and it highlights the importance of cross-sector collaboration, where knowledge, resources, and ideas intersect to create sustainable solutions. So I continue sharing my screen, and I would like to share with you some of our results of our previous researches. So In these times, as our country faces the challenges, of course, of war and the related threats to cultural landmarks, the use of modern digital solutions is more relevant than ever, and well-collected and integrated data about culture, heritage, cultural sites become the foundation for uh, preventive monitoring and protection, and of course for documentation and recording, and transparency and accountability, community and youth engagement. And of course, digital platforms motivate volunteers and students to participate in research and the promotion of Ukraine's culture heritage. And these ecosystems are impossible without robust interaction among many stakeholders, government agencies, universities, and research centers, businesses, and civil society. And one of the most crucial steps is creating and strengthening partnerships where each of these sectors offers its own expertise, contacts, technology, and of course resources. So within the data for UA project, we have examined several platforms and services that work with Ukrainian culture heritage. And this is a Ukrainian company developing GIS solutions and providing digital infrastructure for local councils and researchers, and their platform helps organize official data on culture heritage objects into a single repository, which is accessible to a specialized circle of professionals or local authorities. And of course, SoftPro's example perfectly illustrates how business can collaborate with local governments to respond quickly to threats, conduct monitoring, and coordinate restoration efforts. Another business initiative that combines GIS technology and satellite data to inventory and digitalize heritage sites. Their solutions are convenient for use by government institutions and by university research projects that study effective approaches to monument protection. And a key, I think that the key advantage is the ability to integrate multiple data layers. So, for instance, historical records from archives and modern satellite imagery. So, into a single dashboard. And the next one is SUHO, an international initiative that initiative of scholars, activists, IT specialists, and volunteers joining forces to preserve digital content from Ukrainian museums, libraries, and archives. And their archive websites, 3D models, and virtual exhibits to save culture data from potential loss. And business sector provides Suho with cloud storage services and technical support. So while academic institutions can involve library science, history and IT specialists and students. Next one is Ukraine Map of Recovery, a civic platform that collects data on damaged and restored cultural sites from various sources, including volunteers, and uses satellite imagery. And however, it often requires university experts to systematically and carefully verify and standardize to standardize this collected data by developing transparent methodologies. Developed by the Poltava Regional Council's Center for the Protection and Research of Archaeological Monuments, this initiative merges official and citizen-provided data to create immersive virtual tours of the region's culture heritage. And it integrates historical context, geolocation, and high-quality imagery, offering accessible experiences even when on-site visits are restricted. And business partnerships can strengthen the project's technological framework, and academic institutions can ensure the accuracy and educational depth of its content. And last but not the least, Space for CC, an example of innovation at the intersection of community work, science, and business. So the platform uses satellite images and collects information on environmental threats or destruction from on-site volunteers and experts. And this approach provides a comprehensive assessment of the state of a site, from the extent of physical damage to environmental pollution. And at the same time, university experts develop data processing methods, and business organizations can provide cloud infrastructure and analytical tools. So of course, this is just a few examples that can be shown as possible collaboration between academia and business. But of course, despite progress in implementing data ecosystems, several challenges persist. And first of all, lack of funding and human resources, because many universities face limited budgets for GIS, data science, or similar specialists. But businesses can provide scholarships, internships, and co-funded grant projects. And of course, when we are talking about absence of unified standards, because different teams collect data in varying formats, complicating integration, and academic partners can initiate methodological guidelines, while businesses can swiftly implement them into IT products. And of course, data openness issues, because official sources often restrict access to registries or satellite maps, and cooperation between the private sector and academic institutions can help develop open licensing policies and safely share data with researchers. But we have also several opportunities. So businesses and universities can create courses, specializations, or labs in digital culture heritage, providing students with practical experience in data processing and GIS technologies and, for example, software development. Of course, interdisciplinary research, because combining historical and architectural studies with big data or AI analysis can yield breakthrough results in monument restoration and protection. And of course, the main thing, as for me, my opinion, is volunteer involvement and educational events, promoting platforms like Reherit or What to See Ukraine raises public awareness and engage young youth, empowering and them as agents of change who can offer fresh approaches to heritage promotion. And international grant initiatives funding from programs like Erasmus Plus or Horizon Europe can expand project scopes and enhance university facilities and allow businesses to test new products under real-world conditions. And finally, collaboration between businesses and academic institutions is, in my opinion, the key to building sustainable data ecosystems that will help preserve Ukraine's culture heritage, and now, and of course, for future generations. And let's move on to our esteemed speakers. I'm honored to introduce you Darina Zhivaglядova, Ukrainian culture, heritage, culture researcher, and practitioner dedicated to safeguarding heritage. She has worked on international cultural cooperation at the Ukrainian Culture Foundation, Creative Europe, Desk Ukraine, and UNFPA humanitarian response on youth. And of course, Darina consults for the LA Foundation and focusing on protecting Ukrainian heritage during the war. So, Darina, the floor is yours. I stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. Thank you for this kind introduction, Katerina. And I will now share my screen. Please give me a sign that you all see the presentation, and that's good. Yes, okay. So I'm very glad to be here, and I would like to start saying that I'm glad to also to participate in this webinar together with the colleagues, and also see also see my colleagues from another European Union institutions here. And I would like to start with the let's say the very important thing that I think we all share and we all understand, but it will be always now on the agenda. I will start with this picture, which is the damage in Odessa a bit 2 months ago. And tell that, of course, we share the understanding that the cultural heritage of Ukraine is a primary target of Russian aggression and Russian war against Ukraine. And in the face of these threats, in the face of this war, civil society actors, academia, and business, they unite in a powerful ecosystem of resilience and of emergency response. And I would like today to focus, of course, on academia and industry, how they contribute to cultural heritage cooperation. But I would like to strengthen in the very beginning that it's highly important to talk about the whole ecosystem of protection, the heritage, where we also involve the international organizations, and what is more important, the civil society actors, the NGOs, the non-profit actors such as Cultural Solutions, such as NCADC network, and especially also the NGOs working on the ground in Ukraine. And this all forms this ecosystem with, as I always say, this agile philosophy where we work in teams, and our main characteristics are flexibility now, resilience, and self-organization, which are one of the main skills and competencies to have during the war, when you need to have this rapid response. And I would like also to bring some examples to you on, for example, academia cooperation for the cultural heritage. I also provide here a link to the project so that you can get more information, the QR code. So the first project I would like to talk about is Heritage for Ukraine. It's a project funded by European Union through Erasmus Jean Monnet funding scheme, and it's the cooperation. It's a network of 15 universities all over the world, from New Zealand to Ukraine, especially the Cherkasy University and Kiev Mohila Academy. And all these universities unite around some important topics for the cultural heritage and cultural heritage diplomacy for Ukraine especially, and they also explore the cooperation with the European Union actors. So it's a very important step on how we can place heritage diplomacy not as a part of cultural diplomacy, and but as a separate actor and topic and field to discuss on the level of even high EU level representatives. And here I would like to talk more about these agile principles that I mentioned. So this cooperation for the cultural heritage is based on some, let's say, principles. So first one is also strengthening informal education, cultural preservation. But it's very important that this informal education is also very much connected, for example, with the academia in Ukraine. So it's, again, talking about this ecosystem of involving state and non-state actors. Then, of course, it's introducing new heritage-related specialization in universities. For example, at Lviv Academy of Arts, we know that there are now new specializations for the students, or, for example, conservators working with wood, for example, which is highly important now due to the big volume of the damage of the cultural heritage in Ukraine and the need for conservators to develop the skills. And finally, it's strengthening also networks, professional networks for experience exchange and principles, because of course we have Ukraine cooperates with countries all around the world to exchange this experience. And what is important that now, unfortunately, due to all this war, due to all these years of resistance and new skills that Ukrainians acquired, we also, Ukrainians and Ukrainians heritage professional will be glad to share their knowledge. For example, when there was a flooding in Poland last year, the Ukrainians heritage professionals who worked before with the different emergency actions after Russians blow the Nova Kakhovka dam, they helped a lot to their Polish colleagues with the flooding. So it's very much also the process of exchange. So it's not about helping Ukraine, it's about exchange and about building these important networks. Then the next important case I would like to bring here is the case of Skyron, which is one of the biggest and powerful organizations in Ukraine working with 3D and photogrammetry scanning. And I would like also to highlight here that even when we talk now about innovations, also we already talked a bit in the beginning of this webinar, it's very important that now the quality of for example, the 3D scanning photogrammetry is also changing, because it's not now for promotion issues, it's for example, as Katerina, you mentioned, it's for example, using these images then for the future restoration efforts. And also another important case I would like to mention, it's also about data collection and fixing the culture crimes, the Russian culture crimes. And here is also the link to the website Stolen Heritage. So it's the whole website managed by the Ukrainian government for all of the types of the work sanctions, but it's very important, I think, that there is a separate page about stolen heritage. So when we see what is the volume and what was stolen, and it's all is digitized. And the next really case of great cooperation between the business, also the Smithsonian as the educational institutions and the state organization in Ukraine is here. So here you can see the team of the National Research and Restoration Center of Ukraine. This is the powerful team it's the main state institutions of Ukraine, which is responsible for conservation restoration for all of the national collections, museums and libraries and reserves. And here we can see that a lot of museum collections were damaged, artifacts were damaged, and the thing is that it's a whole team who works, for example, with different types of artifacts, from wood to icons and fabric. They need to go in a big team to the museum and make all the first emergency aid conservation efforts. And this was the cooperation between the Smithsonian Institute in US that helped to financially to equip the teams with the payments for the accommodation. Then Uber, which is very big business, helped them for free to use these cars, as you see, to travel and to also to carry out the special equipment and tools for conservation. And then also Alif Foundation, as international foundation, they helped also to purchase their own cars for the teams so that they can freely, because they have 4 branches in Kharkiv, Odessa, Kyiv, and Lviv, so that they can freely go to the museums. So this is a big gesture of cooperation and exchange. And this is, by the way, the work of this team, and you can see here the work of the Banksy in the Kiev region and of the in Bucha, in one of the cities which was completely destroyed by Russians. And this is how the team they evacuated the graffiti and carried out then to office in Kiev. I would like also to finish with the, let's say, the main priorities, which it's, of course, it's not all the priorities that are to be developed. And also now our National Ministry for Culture and Strategic Communication is in process of developing the national strategy for cultural policy in Ukraine. But first one is comprehensive data collection, data collection, which I think will be mentioned by all of the participants in the webinar today. Then, of course, it's culture, heritage, and security. This is, by the way, also is one of the main pillars of the future cultural policy, heritage policy in Ukraine, to place culture heritage and preservation of culture heritage in the very heart of the national security. Then next one is the risk management and emergency response and long-term recovery strategies. So it's very important to combine these 2 approaches. At first, to talk about the risk teams also that are now supported by Chrome and UNESCO and emergency response, but as well to start playing these long-term recovery strategies, which also involve, of course, the important funding and forming these networks of the heritage professional to collaborate. In the spirit, on the agile philosophy, which I share, is also, I like the one of the main, let's say, phrase from their manifesto, which says that people and cooperation are much more important than processes and tools. So I would like to strengthen this point that it's by fostering this business, academia, and civil society cooperation, we foster this relationship between people, between professionals which work in these institutions, which work in business, which work in academia, and they unite for, let's say, this preservation and safeguarding Ukrainian culture heritage, which is European and world culture heritage, I would say. And it's not only about safeguarding Ukraine's heritage, but also laying this foundation for resilience, for innovation, and about this interconnection of the cultural landscape. So thank you for inviting me, and I'm eager to also to listen to my colleagues, which are also brings all this important expertise and perspective, also from on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darina, for your informative presentation, for your insights. And it's my pleasure to introduce Anastasia Sleptsova and Anastasia Selenok, two remarkable experts from Digitalizing Space and Hata Hub, well known in Ukraine. Both Anastasias are at the forefront of digital innovation for culture heritage, bringing expertise in data-driven preservation and collaborative community projects. And their work ensures that heritage sites, artifacts, and culture narratives are documented, protected, and made accessible for future generations. So please, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, happy to be here with such a great company, and also happy to share what we have done in Hata Hub during the last year, because as we work with innovation and culture, digital innovation and culture for already 5 years, doing the huge annual event in Ukraine called Hackathon, Hack for Culture, where we collect around 1,500 people every year to hack and to bring ideas on the each of technology, culture, and heritage for promotion and for digitalization as well. But last year we set up the sustainable, stable platform and community for professionals, different kind of professionals from tech sphere, from culture sphere, to collaborate, to talk to each other, to have a dialogue in there, and to create projects together, because we firmly believe that cross-sectoral collaboration is a key for innovation. As me and Anastasia are from technology sphere and diving into cultural sphere, we believe that this is something that can move both the innovation and new projects and new kind of startups which can arise on the each of these two spheres. So let me share my screen and quickly introduce you to what we have done actually already. And my colleague will talk more about the research that we first implemented last year, data-driven research on what is here on the ground already in the projects on the each of technology and innovations in Ukraine. And we will be happy to share all the links after the call if you're interested in this research. So this again, this 35 slides, and this is a research, and we will share it with you after, because I don't think that we will have much time. Here's everything about our history, about our impact so far, because we wanted to analyze everything in order to set up the new strategy for this year, and rebrand our Hata Hub to ecosystem of culture tech projects in Ukraine, where we work specifically with projects in this interdisciplinary field that combines culture, art, innovative technologies, and digital tools, and we call this directions culture tech and heritage tech. And again, our mission is to become an ecosystem, and we are already, I think, in the forefront of it in Ukraine, where ideas can be shifted into not only like storytelling projects on heritage, but also sustainable and business models, and operate in a startup mood, and even perhaps become an enterprises, or, for example, where cultural institutions can join us and brainstorm on how they can create products inside data-driven project inside, because they are basically an owners of a lot of data sets in cultural heritage, and how can they monetize these data sets. We mapped all the stakeholders in the field of technology, stakeholders in the field of culture in Ukraine. Again, we will share, and please feel free to reach out if you want any connection here. And we also defined which projects we are working with. And at the moment, we have every month we have Idea Day, where projects in this classification, culture tech, heritage tech projects, or it can be also projects in the field of digital culture, tourism, education, heritage preservation, which promote own this unique data sets, Ukrainian content. It could be museums, it could be cultural institutions, archives, or community-based initiatives in the different regions of Ukraine, where they can pitch the project and where they can also receive an expert advice from mentors from both technical field on how implement this project technically, and from cultural experts, depending on the topic. So every month we have around 10-15 projects who pitch their projects or ideas, and we work with them in the community afterwards. Also, we have working with our community, we have different events. For example, today we have case study day where we will be talking about how culture project can become a startup from the point of view of the Bank of Memories, which came to our hackathon in 2023 as an NGO, because they were creating the project Memories of War, which were totally non-commercial, and how they scale their non-commercial project to a startup, where they still have their non-profit part, preserving the memories about the war and soldiers who was killed defending Ukraine. But still, they created the scalable SaaS platform with the blockchain integrating, and now they also work as a startup in different countries, helping people to preserve the memories of their families or any other memorization project that can be implemented there. We have it in Ukrainian today in the evening, so yeah, we will share the link in the chat. Please feel free to come and to learn more about Ukrainian culture tech projects. So yeah, and I would like to invite my co-founder, Anastasia, to talk more about the research that we have been done last year. And we are actually, this research is in progress because we always found out more projects, because the projects of this kind, excuse me, are mostly either community driven or business driven, and they just arise very often. Not a lot of them survive because there is no proper ecosystem, but we aim to make Hata Hub this kind of ecosystem. So Nastya, the floor is yours. I can help you with the slides so you don't share screen also.
Actually, I can do this like very quickly, not to just so stop sharing. I will do this like in a second. Yeah, I hope you can hear me well and you see my presentation. So to continue with with what we're doing in Hata Hub, so basically I will share with you a couple of important data, and then, as Nastya said before, you can reach us out and we'll share this full presentation with you for you to have this deep dive into the numbers, into the methodology and everything. So basically we, throughout 2024, HubHub team identified 52 projects that were included in this research for 2024. And we actually collecting this data like every day, every month, with the idea days, as Nastya said, and with the open link that we can also share with you for you to give us the data for your project. So basically what we include in our methodology, actually we do this data collection and analysis by searching in open databases and also like within our community that has a lot of people right now, and each year, each hackathon that we conduct, each activity, each event, it grows. So we highly encourage you to join our community, to fill in the form, and actually to become the part of the ecosystem that we are building. So we are like forming this database on 3 key points. Like this should be team activity, so the team should be determined. It still should be functional. There should be the project should have this combination of culture and technology, which is crucial and very important for us. And of course, growth and dynamics for this project to live and to like have an opportunity to survive. Also, we categorize these all projects within the type of organization, within the sector, and the technology or solution that it is used. Like the tech component is like very important for the culture tech ecosystem, because it cannot exist without this innovative tech scene. And of course the form of implementation. So the impact of the project should be crucial, as again we are talking about cultural heritage, so we cannot like throw it out from our research. And basically this approach that we've chosen, it ensures that we have a systematic and comprehensive analytics of the projects, and allow us to track their impact, their activity, and their effectiveness in this combination of cultural and technological components. So for now, again, I will basically skip this slide because you will have an opportunity to look it through in our presentation. So basically here we give the definitions of like the institutions and categories of the organizations. Again, we have different projects, and the main focus that was very interesting for us to understand as well is projects are like their main focus is on cultural heritage, visual arts, and audiovisual sectors. Like these are the key areas. And again, we have like 52% of our projects that are in our database, they are cross-sectoral, that is also very interesting to acknowledge. Also, again, here, like some data of the data and of the cases and of the technologies that are used mainly. We have like different quantitative identifications and categories, which we again spread through our projects. So this again will be available for you. So, and which is also interesting that these projects that are in our research right now, they are like mainly they contribute to all of Ukraine. Some of them are regional, some of them have international activities. These are some examples of the projects that we can call culture tech projects. For example, as Nastya mentioned, Bank of Memories, the Zhenko Center, and Crimea Tatar National Corps, and etc. So yeah, speaking about next steps, we have like this huge goal of building the cultural tech ecosystem in Ukraine. So we continue to collect the data for the projects. Again, encourage you to fill in the form and to give to provide us with the data about your projects or your activities, and become the part of our community. We translated this study into English, and we again do a lot of events, provide a lot of consultations with experts from different fields for our projects and startups to grow and basically to become a part of this innovative sector. And of course, we try to partner with different investors and organizations to help those projects to become sustainable even faster than they were like aiming to do that. And of course, we continue to monitor and update the research and keep track on the progress of new trends in the sector and new projects that arise. So here are some links for the presentation, but again, we will share it. You don't have to like pick your phone and do this. So yeah, join us, follow us on social media, and we hope that together we can create this thriving ecosystem that will, like culture tech ecosystem that will help to preserve and to save the cultural heritage of Ukraine in these like disturbing times. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anastasia, for your representation. Really incredible ecosystem in Ukraine. Hata Hub, best of the best. So join Hata Hub and today's meeting in the evening. The link is in the chat. So we are moving on, and it's my pleasure to introduce Antonina Molotkova, Deputy Director at eMuseum, a leading platform dedicated to the digital preservation and promotion of culture heritage. And of course, Antonina is a driving force in museum digitalization, culture data management, and innovative heritage solutions. So her work at eMuseum focuses on bridging technology and culture, ensuring that historical artifacts, stories, and knowledge are preserved and made accessible to the world. So, Antonina, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Now I'm screening my presentation. I will tell about our project, the web portal of the Register of the Museum Fund of Ukraine. But at first, I should say a little bit about eMuseum. eMuseum is a company that digitizes culture heritage, and it's more specifically, we not only digitize projects, we create projects to show Ukrainian culture without limits and borders. Our mission is to make the bridge between the past and the future through digital technologies, and we create different digital projects, for example, 2D and 3D models, virtual tours, galleries, augmented reality. Also, we make 360-degree tours, virtual quests, animation, mapping, and web portal. One of them is the portal for Museum Fund of Ukraine. As you can see on the screen, it's the first page of this Museum Fund. We don't have English version for now. It's only Ukrainian, but we plan to make English version also. This public portal is interactive online resource. It brings together museums and their collection of cultural values of Ukraine in one convenient place. In the digital age, transparency, accessibility, and preservation are key to the cultural heritage sector. So the web portal is crucial in modernizing and safeguarding the country's rich museum collections. It is useful for researchers and people who are interested in history and culture. The portal should be an important tool in museum activities and will attract more attention to them and increase the audience of visitors. The main goals of this portal is disability popularization and preservation. The portal intends to make history and art more accessible and elevate their promotion and preservation. It made to protect and promote the country's rich cultural heritage digitally. And it ensures that Ukrainian cultural heritage is accessible to future generations and to the global community by digitizing and centralizing museum collections. I must add that we made the web portal the visual part of this register, because the inside part, or what work with museums, it actually was another company, company Strinka, and we made the visual part that you can see now. By statistics, we know that the visiting of and requests for this platform increase more and more. In the first month, it was only 100,000 shows, but now it's more than 400,000 shows on the portal page in the result of Google research, and more than 400 transactions. Every day this number constantly increased, so we know that it's not only in Ukraine who visit this portal, it's also visited in Poland, Germany, and other countries in Europe and America. And what visitors can see on this portal. We have four main sections, actually, a collection of exhibits with description and search, and information about artists, an interactive map of museums, and the gamification tool part with quizzes that try to make the visitors stay more longer on the portal, and it will be like for interested them in this area. So I will tell more about all the functionality of these sections. The first one is the collection of exhibits. Now on the portal we have more than 27,000 of exhibits now, because all the exhibits that museum added to the registry is automatically displayed on the portal and on the list of the museum page. We suggest that users choose an interesting direction, so we made this such convenient catalog. The site's main page shows the collection in understandable form, and you can choose what you're interested in, or just know, and you want to know much more. For example, it's pottery, sculpture, some photo sources, documents, works of painting, and so on. You can select to familiarize yourself or study, and on the page of the collection you can find exhibits by different search and criteria and filter data. For example, for title, region, period, register, classification, making technique, author, or material. If you go to the page, moving to the page, exhibit page, there is a publicly available information about this object. Each object is accompanied by image, of course, the short description, brief information about this exhibit, specified author, date of creation, and also the museum from which this object is. So all these parameters are interconnected in a single ecosystem. You can deeply more involved in this exhibit by thanks to the link. For example, when you click on the author, the user can get to the page where all his works will be collected. And when you click on the museum, you get to the museum page with detailed information and the collections of all the museum. Actually, we have also possibility and opportunity to add the 3D model of the exhibit. on the portal, which make it more exciting and accessible. Users can look at the exhibits enlarge, deploy to see all the details. This process is tightened by its interactive nature and allows you to immerse yourself more in the knowledge of culture. Statistics shows that people watch 3D model for 10 times longer than the photo, and it evokes more emotions. So it's more interest in visiting the museum, of course. Web portal is not only about catalog of the museum's exhibits, it's a comprehensive system for managing and preserving cultural heritage. One of its key features is the integration of 6 registers of cultural values, ensuring structured documentation and accessibility for a wide range of artifacts and history objects. 6 register of cultural values are presented. The first one is the register of cultural values lost during and as a result of the Second World War. It contains information about cultural sites lost by Ukraine during the war. Another one, the register of cultural values returned to Ukraine. It includes cultural heritage objects that have been returned to Ukraine and being belong. Register of the state cultural values that are in the national search, a list of objects that are the subject of the national search for return to the territory of Ukraine. The fourth one is the register of confiscated cultural values. It includes cultural values that were confiscated for offenses or for other reasons. The register of cultural values, which ensures a certificate for the right to export, temporary export for sure, of cultural values from the territory of Ukraine. And the last one, but not the least, as everyone said, is the State Register of National Cultural Heritage, an official list of objects belonging to the national cultural heritage of Ukraine for the purpose of their protection and preservation. It's constantly increasing. Actually, all the museums fulfilled it's with more and more objects for now. And another important option on the portal is the museum map. It's a section on the museum portal, the convenient tool to find and navigate between museums of Ukraine. Now on the museum portal, on this portal, we have already 454 museums, and all of them is presented on the map. So as for me as a museum worker, it's very useful opportunity because when I travel, actually I want to find and invent museums. And when you have this map, you know for sure that they are working, and you can even find what collections they have because they presented it on the portal. The map shows museums from all regions. Each of them contains a brief description, photo, and contact information. Users can look for museums for location, type, and plan visit to the museum in the city or area. Each museum has also contains a list of exhibits that can be seen in this museum. You can also find a sim quiz of this museum on the page, of course. So for the museum page, it's the all information, but we have another sections in the portal. One of them is information about artists. For now, there's information about more than 300 authors. And this sector created to acquaintance with the work of prominent authors, sculptors, master of decorative art, and artists. This allows not only to understand the cultural context more deeply, but also to learn more about personal stories and influence them that formed Ukrainian art. Each page contains biographical data, a review of major creative period, description of technique and style, also the photo and brief information about this author. Also on the page, you can see the work of the master who are included in the register, if they fulfill it now. And another part, another section of the museum portal is gamification tool. It's the quizzes, which presented on the main page and on another section. The quizzes section of the museum portal is an interactive section for testing and deepen knowledge about culture, history, and art of museum collections. Users choose the topic of the quiz to take part in it, answering questions of different difficulty. Each museum actually can present his own quizzes. Now it's only 9, but still I think they will be interested to present more of them. For those who seek to experience their knowledge or learn more about Ukrainian culture heritage, quizzes offer useful information. Also, and the quiz mechanic is easy. It offers up to 10 questions. Each question has image or 3D model. After the reply, the questions has 4 options. One of which is true, and after reply he goes to the next question. So as a result, the system calculates the number of correct questions and tells the result. It's quite simple actually, yeah. And we don't stop working on this platform. We want to enlarge it, and our plans is to involve users using internet marketing. Of course, we want users to love this portal and come more often and invite their friends. Museums constantly fill more and more exhibits, so content is grows. Also, we plan on making an English version of the site. As I was mentioned before, it will spread the audience for sure, I suppose. And it's actually all of the information what I want to say about the portal. So if you have any question about it, I will wait on the Q&A session. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for your informative presentation. It was really impressive. A lot of work was done, and thank you so much once again. As we conclude today's discussion, one thing is clear, that preserving culture heritage is not just about the past, so it's about shaping the future. I think everybody knows it, but through data, ecosystems, innovation, and collaboration, we are building bridges between communities, experts, and technology to safeguard Ukraine's rich cultural legacy. And the initiatives we've explored today are proof that then when we unite knowledge with action, we create powerful solutions. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest, your commitment to this vital mission. And let's continue working together to protect our culture heritage for future generations. So stay tuned. Our contacts are here too. So thank you so much for your time, for your efforts.